Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the City of Westland's annual Earth Day celebration. My name is Kyle Mulligan. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the city, as well as the lead point on Mission Green TV. Thank you again for all being here today. We have a great program for you all. We will begin by highlighting some of Westland's accomplishments throughout the past year, as well as tease some of the amazing Mission Green initiative and announcements coming to the city in the near future. I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Priority Waste and North Brothers Ford, for being our official sponsors for today's ceremony. And before we begin, I would like to recognize some of our elected officials in attendance today. If you could please hold your applause until I have announced everybody. Westland Mayor William R. Wild, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, State Representative Kevin Coleman, Westland City Clerk Richard LeBlanc, Council President James Hart, Council President Pro Tem Michael Landau, Councilman James Godbout, Councilmember Andrea Rakowski, Councilmember Melissa Sampe, Deputy Mayor Mike Reddy, the City of Westland entire administration, and the remaining boards and commission members. Is there anybody I have not recognized? If you could please stand and be recognized. All right, if we could thank everybody for being here today. I would now like to bring up our Westland Mayor, William R. Wild, who will update the community on our Westland Sustainability Report. Mayor.
Thank you, Kyle. Happy Earth Day, everybody. So thanks for all coming out today, and sorry we had to change the venue. We thought we were going to have a washout this morning. Otherwise, we would have been over at the recycling center, but this area of City Hall is actually one of my favorite areas in all the city to have events, so it feels good to be here today. And we welcome our Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Thank you for joining us here today. So as you take a look in your program, we call it the 2022 Sustainability Report, but kind of what I like to do on Earth Day every year is kind of take a look back and a look forward on all the things that we're doing, because I think a lot of times people kind of forget a lot of the things that we're doing. And I'm a big believer that regardless on the federal level, no offense to our Congresswoman, but I know that there's different views as far as climate change, but when you bring it down to a city like the City of Westland, you know, we see the climate's changing in our own city. We see that. We see it with larger rain events. We see it with larger wind events and differential in temperature and a lot of different things. So we know that the climate is changing. And I also believe that the real action, I know that they're calling on our federal leaders, and all across the planet they're calling on our leaders to kind of tackle climate change from the top down. Now, I believe that's worthwhile, and we need to do that, but I truly believe that climate change action happens from the ground up. And I think that in Westland we have a responsibility, and I think that we've met that responsibility and we continue to do it. So when you look at this sustainability report, I kind of call it our city-led climate action report. And if you look at over the years, Westland's done a lot of different things to lower our carbon footprint and to create a more sustainable community. Probably the part that's most visible and the part that we get the most attention for is our incredible recycling program. We have one of the highest participation rates in the state of Michigan. And you can see we have our recycling cans here today. We're going to be talking a little bit more about how we're going to enhance that program shortly. But since we kicked off curbside recycling back in 2008, 2009, the city has recycled over 51,000 tons of material that would have otherwise went into a landfill. So that's a lot of material. Last year we celebrated the update of the recycling center, and it continues to amaze me how many people use that on a day-to-day basis. We're recycling all kinds of different things there that we don't necessarily take at the curb, and it's been a great addition to our Mission Green program. We continue to replace trees all throughout the city, and we're working with the City Council now on expanding our current tree replacement program. We continue to look for every grant that we can for trees, and we appreciate those that work hard for that for us. Last year we talked about the the interaction with the Lower Rouge River, and that'll be the installation of 2 kayak docks at the Merriman and Vinoy Park there, the Wayne County Park. We're going to talk a little bit more about some of the electric vehicles that we're going to be purchasing, and Westland has taken the lead. We've been using flex fuel vehicles in our police department for several years. We've got new electric car charging stations at City Hall and throughout the city that Devin's going to talk about here shortly. Our city planner, Mo, he's managing a program called the Westland Walk and Roll Plan, and that's to make the city more, enhancing our bicycle infrastructure all throughout the city. The more people that are riding bikes and walking throughout the city, that's less carbon that's coming out of all of our vehicles. Solar panel installations. Over the years, we've reviewed our internal policies, and we've prioritized review our solar panel projects. And we haven't got a lot of attention for this, but since 2019, the city has reviewed and approved 60 installations throughout the city, and those are in residential homes. We continue to invest in our green infrastructure. A big part of that has been our street lighting, and if you look on the back of the program, over the years in several phases, the city has actually changed all of our mercury vapor lights in the city to LED lights, and there was a cost for that, but the one thing I'm proud to say is that those phases are all finished, and we get our return on investment in about 1.5 years on each one of those phases. So we're beyond that point, and we're saving money every single day. A couple more Mission Green things are we currently have 3 community gardens, and we're always looking for residents to step up and offer to support more community gardens. We still have the 3 Bees native plant garden, which is in Corrado Park, which is it started off as a small butterfly garden, and now there's nothing like it in the area. We've planted trees all throughout our historical districts. We've done DTE energy audits door to door in some of our most impoverished areas. Every year we host Wayne County Hazardous Waste Day collection in the City of Westland. We just had one a couple weeks ago, and it was just absolutely amazing how many people came and how many cars were processed in a short period of time, and just the amount of hazardous waste that we took out of the system. And I really appreciate all the people that held on to that stuff during COVID, and they brought it out for this hazardous waste thing. The easy thing would have been to just throw it in the trash and say, you know what, I'm tired of looking at this stuff. But people held on to it, and it really makes a difference. We continue to be one of the leading cities in battery recycling, and some people may not know it, but we recycle here in City Hall, and we do all of our city buildings, and we have these containers that our DPS guys empty for us on a weekly basis. So we've done a lot here in the City of Westland, but we're just getting started. There's so much more that we can do, and as we move through our program today, you're going to learn about some new things that we're doing, and then we're going to take a few minutes to recognize somebody that's been working as an activist for the environment for a long time. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Kyle.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm now going to touch base on a grant project that the City of Westland was awarded last fall through Eagle and the Recycling Partnership. City of Westland was awarded a $100,000 grant through the Recycling Partnership with the goal of continuing to educate residents on the importance of recycling, as well as the all-important do's and don'ts of our curbside recycling program. Grant funding is used for educational materials that have been sent to every Westland residential home as a reminder about what can go into their curbside bins. This mailer is intended to remind the residents of the yes and no items, but also announces our second portion of our grant-funded project through the Recycling Partnership. From May 2nd through June 24th, 2022, the City of Westland will have super recyclers walking our city neighborhoods as our Feet on the Street program kicks into gear. The super recyclers, otherwise known as taggers, will be walking each recycling route ahead of the recycling trucks for an 8-week period and observing residential recycling carts for contaminated items. After conversations with our trash hauler, the materials recovery facility, and the recycling partnership, we have determined that the 6 main issues regarding contamination in our curbside program are plastic bags or bagged recyclables, food and liquid, yard waste, glass, and styrofoam. Throughout the 8-week tagging portion of this project, any Westland recycle cart that has any of these items in them will be tagged by our super recyclers as a message to that residential family that there are items in their specific cart that would not be recycled and would need to be removed before their next recycle day. So what I'm going to do now is invite up Council President Pro Tem Michael Landau and Councilwoman Andrea Rakowski. They are going to take part in a demo of what a super recycler is going to be doing. Council members? So I'm going to start first with Council Pro Tem Michael Landau. He is going to go through this bin here and assess some of the items in here. This is what's going to be going on in our tagging portion. They're going to be observing these carts, and if there are any of those 6 items that I listed, will be marked on a tag and put onto the recycling cart so that that resident knows that there are items in those bins that will not be able to be recycled. So
These aren't recyclable, by the way.
correct. All right. Councilman Landau, are there anything in there? Flattened cardboard, that's good. Newspaper, plastic bottles, okay. All right. That's a box, okay. All right.
More bottles.
Council Pro Tem Michael Landau, are there anything in that bin that you deem contaminated items?
No, maybe a little liquid in the bottles.
Okay,
That's about it.
so this one would pass the test. If we could all give Council President Pro Tem Michael Landau a round of applause. He is a super recycler. Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Rakowski, you are up.
All right.
Let's check through that bin and see if there are any contaminated recycling items.
What do we got here?
So that looks like aluminum cans, which can be recycled. However, they are in a plastic bag, and those get caught in the machine at the MRF, so that unfortunately would not be able to be recycled.
That's a bummer. All right. Oh, we got just some plastic.
Plastic wrap, unfortunately, is not allowed in the curbside recycling.
Yeah, that's gonna gum up.
Is there anything else?
Oh, Kyle, look.
Styrofoam is one of those 6 items. All righty.
Oh, man,
What's in that bag?
I don't wanna look. I don't know. I bet that's yard waste. That's probably what that is.
So even if it is yard waste, because it's in a bag, it would get caught in the machine. Again, that is a contaminated item. So, does this deserve a tag?
This is getting tagged.
All right, this is getting tagged. So what Councilwoman Rakowski is gonna do is mark the items that are contaminated on the oops tag and then mark it onto the recycling cart so that resident will then know which specific items are in their cart that are not able to be recycled for future runs.
So they're just gonna get this tag put on their recycling. And we've marked the deficiencies.
And there you go. If we could give everybody, Councilwoman Rakowski a round of applause. She is also a super recycler.
So I stay
you
on the
very
good
much,
side.
guys.
I stay on the good side, thankfully.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
That's a good one.
All right. The Feet on the Street program is going to be a terrific message and reminder for residents to visually see if there are any items they are placing in their cart that cannot be allowed, and give that resident the friendly reminder to change their habits and to remind them that we can all do better for our planet. The City of Westland is thrilled about this grant opportunity, and we look forward to continuing to educate the importance of the curbside recycling program in Westland for the betterment of everybody involved. I am now going to invite up our controller, Devin Adams, as he will update everyone today on some of the project he has been working on. He puts the EV in EV Westland.
All right. Kyle, thank you, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for allowing me an opportunity to speak today on the City of Westland's EV progress. Under Mayor Wild's vision and leadership as part of our Mission Green initiative, one of our city goals is to lay a practical path to replacing carbon-based fuel consumption to protect and sustain the environment through decarbonization and electrification, with also the hope of inspiring action across the region. With that, the city issued a RFP for public access car charging stations in early 2021. The purpose of this RFP was to contract with a company who would install, own, and maintain multiple level 2 charging stations on city property, but for public use. An additional incentive for this contract comes with revenue sharing, where the city will capture 5% of all the additional revenues earned from these charging stations, which will be used to offset other citywide Mission Green programs in the future. April 2021, just about 1 year from today, our city council approved this bid award with a company called GreenSpot, who is located out of New Jersey. Presently, as part of phase 1 of this no-cost program, the city now has 8 operational charging stations located at City Hall and Artatan Park. As part of phase 2, we will add more stations at locations in Westland, such as our library and our senior center. In phase 2, this program will continue to grow and expand accordingly. But having EV charging station is just one piece of this overall initiative. In accordance with our commitment to environmental sustainability, Westland has also invested in upgrading its own fleet to greener options. In July of 2021, our council approved a purchase with Mercy Sales for the fire department's first stealth power idle ambulance. This electric powered takeoff unit runs the boom without relying on the engine, which reduces wear and tear, lowers the city's fuel costs, and heavily reduces CO2 emissions. In March of 2022, our council approved the purchase of a 2022 Ford Lightning for the police department, making this our first electric vehicle in our city's fleet. In addition to substantial fuel savings, having this vehicle will grant the city the ability to collect useful information on the energy this EV uses every day, the cost of that energy, the avoided emissions, along with other metrics that outline the city's return on its investment. Speaking of return on investments, the city also passed a EV mobility economic stimulus memorandum of understanding with a company called AAW Infrastructure's L3C. This program was approved by council in May of 2021 and also has no cost to the city and further promotes the acquisition of electric vehicles by having overages paid for by this vendor directly. So while electric vehicles are more expensive than standard models, having the difference in cost paid for is another great incentive for Westland to continue to update its fleet to electric options. And the monies received as part of this MOU will then be reinvested into infrastructure that continues to promote electrification, such as the level 2 charger needed for the police department's Ford Lightning. And lastly, our police department will also add 20 new hybrid Explorers in its fleet in late 2022. And as we all know, hybrids also reduce emissions, improve fuel efficiency, and overall simply run cleaner. So from this point forward, EV Westland will continue to look for additional opportunities for EV sustainability in the future to further decrease our carbon footprint, which will advance our desire to be a leader in environmental science. So thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Devin. I would now like to invite up Katie Dover-Taylor, Head of Adult Services at the William P. Faust Public Library, to give an update on all of the exciting stuff that they are going to be doing for the community regarding our Mission Green initiatives. Katie?
Thanks so much, Kyle. How's everybody doing today? So our library director, Jennifer Roth, was not able to be here this morning, and she asked me to introduce you to some of our own library's Mission Green programs. First, I'd love to thank the City of Westland, specifically our city workers, council, and Mayor Wild, for their hard work and strong support of so many programs that benefit our community, that promote our well-being and resilience, and that exemplify a deep commitment to environmental sustainability in our community and beyond. And I'm so happy that Congresswoman Tlaib is here to join us today. Congresswoman, thank you for all you do to champion our community, our environment, and provide equitable access to the wealth of natural resources our region has to offer. Thank you so much. Finally, I want to thank all of you for being here. Please give yourselves and your neighbors a round of applause. I'm so grateful for the invitation to speak about all of the awesome things going on at your Westland Library. If you're interested in reducing your carbon footprint and you like deals, please stop by our quarterly Friends of the Library book sale next weekend. The book sale will run from Friday, April 29th to Sunday, May 1st. And on Saturday, April 30th, we'll be hosting DTE representatives in our lobby. DTE will be sharing information about their free home energy consultation which is available to all DTE customers who live in single-family homes, duplexes, or condominiums. Tomorrow, our teen department is hosting a group of volunteers for an Earth Day cleanup at J.C. Park. The Teen Earth Day cleanup program will start at noon tomorrow and is for teens in grades 7 through 12. If you would like to participate or know a teen who might be interested, please register by 9 p.m. today. And last but not least, the Westland Seed Library is our most exciting new collection. The Seed Library opened on March 30th. My colleague Aubrey Franklin and I are here today, and we even brought a mini version of the Seed Library. Thank you, Kyle, for your Vanna White services. We have already received an outpouring of interest in our Seed Library. It's truly awesome how many green thumbs we have here in Westland and in our surrounding communities. The mission of the Westland Seed Library is to promote gardening, to cultivate heirloom varieties of plants, and to foster the tradition of seed saving and sharing. We hope to create a seed collection that supports an abundant, diverse landscape while enabling anyone who's interested, maybe even you, to grow their own food, share with their community, be outside, and have fun. Individuals may borrow seeds to take home, grow, and enjoy, with the intention of saving seeds at the end of the growing season to return to the library for others to borrow next season. And now's the time to get planting, so if you would like to leave this celebration today with seeds in your pocket, please see me or Aubrey at the conclusion of the ceremony. We'll be over here by this amazing toolbox of seeds. If you don't have time to chat with us today, we welcome you to stop by the William P. Faust Public Library of Westland, located at 6123 Central City Parkway, about a mile that way. Outdoors at our library, we have a beautiful building and grounds, free Wi-Fi, picnic tables, and lockers where you can pick up library materials 24/7. Inside, you'll find friendly people ready to help you use your computer, smartphone, or tablet, print or fax a document, or access our wealth of collections, including video games, STEM and storytime kits for kids, and Wi-Fi hotspots. And we have tons of digital collections you can access from home or on the go 24/7. Westland library cards are absolutely free to Westland residents, and if you live in one of our surrounding communities, you can use your home library card with us. Thank you for all your support of our staff and our library. Your support allows us to continue to provide something for everyone, something to seed learning and growth, something that fosters community connections, or perhaps even something that inspires delight, awe, or excitement. Thank you again for your attention, and happy Earth Day!
Thank you, Katie. Now, continuing in our ceremony this morning, I'm going to ask Mayor William Wild to come back up to the podium to present our EcoFriendly Award. Mayor?
Thank you, Kyle. Let's give Kyle a big round of applause. He's our Parks and Recreation Director, but he wears a lot of hats and he spends a lot of time promoting Mission Green all throughout the year on Mission Green TV on WLND. So thank you for doing that, Kyle, and thank you to our council members for helping out with today's event as well. So with that, I have the honor of introducing this year's EcoFriendly Award winner, and that's going to be Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. And before we bring her up, I just want to say a few things. One is that I've always been impressed with the Congresswoman's work ethic. I mean, she is a worker. She always has been, and I know that her constituents appreciate it. Every time I see her, one of the first things she says is, "Mayor, put me to work. Put me to work." Out in the hallway, she was saying, "Mayor, what do you need? What do you need?" So we're gonna twist her arm a little bit and see if she can help us on a federal firefighter safety grant. So we appreciate you helping us with that, and she delivers too. She was recently in Westland, and she delivered a very significant federal investment in the Wayne Westland Community Schools career technical center, and we appreciate that. And we're also working with her office on potentially trying to secure funding for the community center that we're trying to build in the Marshall Middle School. So Congresswoman, we appreciate all that you do for us. And while I mentioned that Congresswoman is known for her work ethic, she's also known for her environmental, I'm going to call it activism, and I don't want that to sound like a bad word because she's been advocating for clean air and clean water for Southeast Michigan long before she ever became our Congresswoman. So, and I don't know that she's recognized enough for her work and her efforts there. She's been, I should read my notes. I'm saying it without even reading it. That's pretty good. Besides her work for clean water and clean air, she's been coordinating tours for members of Congress and the Michigan's Attorney General to listen to the people leading the way on the front lines of social and environmental movements for justice. She serves as the vice chair of the Subcommittee on Environment within the House Oversight and Reform Committee, and she's passed amendments to increase renewable energy funding and ensuring equitable use of public lands. With that, we'd like to ask Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib to please step forward. So Congresswoman, before we turn over the mic to you, we have an award for you. This is, we call it our Mission Green Eco Award, and it's presented to you for being an environmental champion in recognition of your efforts to make Southeast Michigan a greener place to live, work, and play for all. It's presented on April 22nd, 2022 for Earth Day, and even our awards are eco-friendly.
Yeah,
This
I can
is
see that.
made on sustainable bamboo.
Nice.
So, and it's suitable for framing. So with that, we give you Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor. Good morning to everyone here. Happy Earth Day. I want to thank Mayor Wild and the City of Westland for this amazing honor. When we got the call, I was just amazed that you all recognize my love and passion to make sure that our kids really have a viable future that has clean air and clean water. Environmental justice, you know, is a key passion of mine because, you know, I grew up in a community where, you know, we had some of the highest asthma rates, and we continue to see the impact now on so many of my, you know, folks that I went to school with respiratory issues and so forth. And so I often tell the story when I go read to our kids in third grade all throughout the district. And I always have to explain to them what my job is. And it's hard, because third grade, they're still learning the different branches and the way they're learning it. I always sometimes wonder, why don't we just have them go through the exercise of making a law and they can understand it a little better. So I remind them, when I was your age, I used to go to a restaurant and with my parents, and they'd always go, how many in the party? And then they go non-smoking or smoking section. And the kids are like, and I'm like, they used to smoke inside no. And they were like, I was like, hospitals, no. And they were airplanes, that's what I tell Mike. And when I say airplanes, they're like, no, and they're just looking at me in amazement. And I told them, even though doctors, scientists, everyone was saying that it is impactful. This is, again, this is not to say anything about smoking, but we knew and we had the data that said, it does impact people's lungs, and that secondhand smoking was hurting our public health, especially young lungs among children. And so I tell them, I fight for clean air. And one day, I always tell them this, Mayor, I was like, one day when you're up here possibly reading or talking to kids or talking to your grandkids, maybe they're kids, that they used to have vehicles out here that smelled like, fumes. And because they're going to be having electric vehicles. And I know that it's going to happen, and it needs to happen. I mean, we know that some of the things that we need to do is have that just transition that needs to happen, because we know so many of our neighbors are in the industry and working hard, and we don't want to take that away, but we know that there's a pathway to green infrastructure, and that is something that I'm working incredibly hard to do. I also, it brings a smile to me when I think of 13 district-strong communities like the City of Westland who are committed to this. Everyone's thinking one charging station, one vehicle, but you have a vision and you're taking the steps that are necessary. Some don't even want to venture into it because they think it's too hard. but you all understand it's necessary. And I just want to acknowledge that work and thank you to the city council members and to the mayor and really all the city employees for putting the work into it to make that a reality. I think Earth Day should be every day. You all know that. And this award is not really, truly about, the work that I'm doing. It's about the residents who do call me that are passionate about this. I want to thank them so much for believing and giving credibility to the work I'm doing in Congress and saying, Rashida, I'm tired of getting the notices about our water not being clean, or the notice that, hey, the air quality in the summer is at a level that you got to be careful and not, especially if you have respiratory issues, to be out in public. And so this is about cities like our beautiful Westland community doing the work to make our planet cleaner and sharing information with residents on how to do so, even allowing city council members. So that was a really amazing demonstration. This is about the residents that send us in these really important roles to make those important decisions and to take on some of the corporate polluters. And I will say it, corporate polluters need us to push them to make the right decisions. We saw that even in the past with the industry and the tobacco industry. And so it is important for us to speak that truth and to move forward again with the science and the data that's out there. I do have a 16-year-old son. And if anybody knows my son, Adam, I every day is a climate conversation in the house. But he reminds me this past summer of so many of our neighbors getting flooded, that's part of what's going on here, right? And that we want to start looking at green infrastructure in that way with some of that investment that needs to happen. But he constantly says to me, it's just going to make our world even harder, Mom. And you need to work really hard. And I remember him as I was talking to the chairwoman of Financial Services Committee, I wanted to get away from the federal government investing in fossil fuel, doing the fossil fuel loans and getting away from that. And he was sitting in the back, and I had two colleagues passionately pleading with me not to introduce the amendment. And he just like goes, Mom, really loud, give me a paper and a pen. And I'm like, in the middle of a meeting, And so I ripped like a blank, envelope that I had in my purse and I hand it to him. I still have it to this day. He's like, Mom, you got to tell them we have until 2030. And I show it to the chairwoman Maxine Waters at the end of the meeting. But we got to listen to our kids, because even as I talk to the third graders and into that conversation, they all believe that we all deserve clean air. And so I just thank you all for the honor of sending me. And also, Mayor Wild, and everything that we've been through together, our friendship has grown in that, he did put me to work. I am so happy that today we're finalizing a proposal to put in, and you're going to work hard together. We're going to work hard to make sure it happens, but we're going to submit $3.5 million so that we can have the middle school turn into a place that it can be a safety net for our communities across Westland. And so that's the kind of work that you have to just put me to work and put the politics aside and make it about the residents. And I can't thank you, Mayor, for that. As soon as I walk in the door, he had another ask, and that's why I was on the phones. But we need that extension, and we're going to work really hard on that. But thank you. This is incredibly important to me. And I just want you to know I have a lot of awards now on my wall just from the work I've done on a number of issues, especially before and after school programs. But this one has my name spelled correctly, and so I really appreciate that so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Kyle. You're doing a great job up here.
All right. Thank you, Congresswoman and Mayor. That does conclude our ceremony this morning. We appreciate everyone who came out today. Before you leave, please be sure to grab a Mission Green cookie. They are from Homestead Bakery locally in Westland. And also grab a water and some coffee on your way out. And if we could have all of the program participants come up to the front real quick for a quick group picture, and we'll get everybody on their way. Thank you very much, and have a great weekend, guys.
Well, I'm here with Rashida Tlaib. We just finished a beautiful Earth Day celebration here at City Hall. I'm Councilwoman Melissa Ciampi with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who's going to talk a little bit more about what Earth Day means to you, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what you're doing. But what does Earth Day mean to you?
I mean, Earth Day is our right to breathe clean air, to take care of the soil that we put food in the ground, and it's also, our right to have clean water. But it's also, Earth Day is just not about Mother Earth, but how Mother Earth's relationship is to us, that we got to take care of her so that we can have a viable future and, not have to worry about flooding and contamination of our water and, seeing the asthma rates among children, especially in Wayne County, increase at a drastic rate. That we are looking at how do we reduce pollution, how do we reduce that impact on Mother Earth.
And you're a mom, just like myself too. What does it mean for our children, for their future?
Yeah, one of the things I talked about today and was kind of talking about how when I talk to third graders and I talk about the times that when we were younger, we used to go to these restaurants and they'll say how many people in a party, but they also used to say smoking or non-smoking section. And, trying to explain to the kids, even then, we were doing something as later on down the line, we found out it was hurting our young lungs, right? It was not beneficial for our public health. And saying that now your generation is talking about what about our open air, right? Our water quality and so forth. And, the kids are just like so amazed. And so I tell them one day, hopefully, when they're older, like I am, that they will be able to talk about how, oh, we didn't have electric vehicles. This is, that now everybody has one. And so, I think that if anything, we know so much more now that when we don't address the fact that we are polluting the air and the water, that it is hurting our communities. It's not just what we see happening this past summer with flooding, but it's just the climate crisis that we see around the world.
Absolutely. And Westland has done their share of really focusing on the environment. The mayor discussed a lot of initiatives in place. So there's things that we've done and things coming down the pike. But I would be curious if you could maybe tell us a little bit more about what you're working on and maybe what's coming down the pike, which our residents will benefit from.
Yeah, I think folks, especially the Westland residents, need to know. I mean, Mayor Wild and city council members have already put like memorandum of understandings together about electric vehicle charging stations, moving towards creating these kind of community gardens and things like that. Also, just having each household participate in the recycling program in the right way. All of that is very hands-on, and it's something that we want to continue supporting, especially me as a member of Congress. I just started a bipartisan Get the Lead Out caucus where we have Republicans, Democrats coming together and saying we got to focus on that. Westland has done a great job early on in investing in that infrastructure, but there are smaller communities and other communities throughout Wayne County that still haven't had access to the funding that's needed to actually remove all of the contamination from many of the pipes that bring in our water. So we're working really hard on that. The other one is the Environmental Justice for All. I sit on Natural Resources Committee. It's something that will look at cumulative impact of different outputs into the air, what that impact is on public health. It's something that we actually in our country have not looked at very closely. So we're working really hard on those two initiatives.
That's great. And thank you so much for being here today. Again, Rashida Tlaib just won the EcoFriendly Award here in the City of Westland. It was such an honor to have you here, present you with that award. And again, we really appreciate your time, all of your work that you've done here to advocate for Westland, keeping our environment green friendly as well. So thank you so much for watching this, and we appreciate everyone that attended today, and you too, Congresswoman Rashida.
Thank you, Westland.
Bye-bye.